Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Unshakable Soul podcast. This is the space where we will unravel the magic and mystery of our divine human experience. Today, we are on episode 58, and I have with me Sebastian that is going to graciously share with us the wisdom of Ayurveda and sweetest massage. And we're going to talk about holistic well-being to really support healthy mind, body, and soul. Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited. So, Sebastian is an Ayurvedic practitioner and he's also a registered massage therapist. And this conversation really is going to weave both of those together. And we're going to give an overview as well as what Ayurveda is, what Swedish massage is, and how they can both support you on your healing journey. So without further ado, let's dive in and see where this conversation takes us. First, share us a little bit about how you entered into the wellness scene as a whole. Where did it all start for you?
It started a while ago when I was born, due to my mother, actually. She's always been super into the whole alternative wellness world. So I grew up with that a lot. I was vegetarian, I did meditations, I did yoga, I received massages. I think my first massage was around 10 years old. Um, and so it's been part of my life for a long while. It's since I was a kid, and I've learned a lot as a kid. But as a kid, I actually hated the process because I just wanted to go play with my friends. I didn't want to be receiving a massage. So as a teenager, I rebelled and didn't do any of that stuff. I started eating meat and being less healthy in general. But once I became an adult, things really kind of shifted and I had to start taking care of myself. But because I already had a lot of that knowledge in the back of my mind, it was much easier for me to start that process of how to take care of myself. So I learned like just how to eat better and how to just take care of my health, physical health, mental health, and spiritual health as well, of course. So that was the upbringing, which really solidified a great foundation. After that, I started off as a yoga teacher. I did my Kundalini yoga teacher training in 2010. And that was the first time that I felt really connected to being a healthy person, um, so to say. And I really felt great when I came back from that. So when I came back to Canada, to home here, I had to get back into the routine of life, but I continued kind of doing my yoga and living a healthy life. Not nearly as healthy as I was back at the training, of course, because they go all out, but still more than most 19, 20-year olds were, which is the age I was. And then I got a job at a yoga studio. So I got an idea of kind of the Western approach to yoga and things. And it was a great way to do yoga, but I didn't love it as much because they took a lot of the core essences away from it. It became more of just a workout, which is also very important, but as you know, not the only important part about yoga. So, about a year later, I had the opportunity to go to India to learn about Ayurveda, to become an Ayurvedic practitioner. So, an Ayurvedic practitioner is the person that gives the treatments, the Ayurvedic treatments. So, basically, a massage therapist, but uses Ayurveda. And I did that more for personal reasons. Like, I just wanted to learn and kind of experience Ayurveda more specifically or more technically, because in the past I never really knew the details of it. I just did what I was told. So I learned a lot about Ayurveda then, and I came back and I noticed that there was literally only one other person in Ottawa using Ayurveda as a business, at least. So I started giving treatments mostly just to friends and family and people in my local life. And that was a part-time job essentially for me for about a year or so until I was able to turn that into a more full-time job.
Mhm.
I was giving treatments in people's homes. I have a little kind of fully insulated shed in the backyard I was able to use, very small. A couple of years after that, I started to be able to move into a bigger place. And yeah, basically since then, I've just been upgrading and upgrading my knowledge, my skills, my uses, my habits. And now, more recently, I've become a registered massage therapist. So I'm incorporating more the Western approach to health with the Eastern.
Mhm.
And my health journey obviously will continue to grow, but that's kind of where I'm at now.
Mm.
Lifelong journey.
Yes. No, thanks for sharing that. And I think it's really cool that to know that it started so young and it's not something you see a lot. Like sometimes you see these nowadays, like you're in your maybe 20s, but usually maybe your 30s having this like, oh my gosh, like what is life? Like let's get into yoga because they're like everybody's doing it, or it's just something that you're naturally looking for something more than just this 3D reality. But you had started so young, so young. And of course, that kind of rebellion phase, and then coming back to it, but with different eyes, different appreciation. That's an awesome kind of interesting journey and seeing how it shaped you.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and I'm glad I had it as a young person for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to take a step back though, and because we already mentioned the word that is going to be the focal point, I think, of our conversation, Ayurveda, and massage as well. Could you explain to maybe the listener that doesn't know anything about Ayurveda or maybe heard about it, but they're like question mark, question mark.
Yeah,
What is it? What is it like basic principles and its philosophy and why do you think it's so important?
yeah, it's thousands of years old. It's from India, and I actually call Ayurveda simply complicated because at its core, it's actually really simple. It's really only about balancing the elements within our bodies and within the world around us, but especially within ourselves. And so those five elements are air, ether, which make the vata dosha. You have fire, which makes the pitta dosha or constitution. And you have earth and water, which make the kapha dosha. So knowing Ayurveda is essentially knowing where those elements are within us, when they're too high, why they're too high or low, and how we can balance those within us. At its core, that's really all Ayurveda is. It gets very complicated because we are human and we are such complex beings. There's so many variables and factors. But at its core, that's what Ayurveda is. It's the science of life. It's the medicine of India specifically, but you can see it in Chinese medicine, in other Asian medicines. You see it in that part of the world a lot.
Yeah, and Ayurveda as well, I've studied it to some degree, and I find it so empowering for the individual because it invites you to know yourself on a deeper level and
Mm-hmm.
to understand that relationship microcosm in you is a reflection of the macrocosm, just like so within, so without. It's just everything in here is affected by everything out there, and you are the universe, you are creation, you have the elements, right, that created everything we see out there. We also have it here. So in a world that tells us eat paleo or do this type of exercise, it's there is no one size fits all. even though some people really want us to tell them what to do, the right thing to do, it's like, dude, like it depends. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really difficult. I run into that problem with clients all the time where they want me to just tell them, like, you just need to come and see me once a month for this many times, and then you'll be, healed. But that's just not the case. I can make a timeline for when you'll be better, but health is a lifelong process. It's an ongoing thing that we constantly have to tweak and adjust and try new things and get rid of things, and we have to be willing to be open to the world's modalities, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking to, I first of all want to acknowledge that point of like, this is a journey. It's a journey. Healing is a journey. It's a process. It takes patience, basically. It takes knowing yourself, what you need, when you need it, how much you need of it. And again, I'm going to mention that empowerment. It's such a beautiful reminder that, yes, we are the medicine. We hold the keys to our greatest transformation, greatest healing. But there comes, I think, this willingness. There has to be a willingness to actually dive deeper than the surface, dive deeper. And I think that's where Ayurveda is such a beautiful gateway into the self. Okay, what is this symptom telling me about something deeper, like an undercurrent, an energetic undercurrent?
Yeah. And I find Ayurveda works well. It knows it's not the only thing out there. It has sisters like yoga or meditation or breath work. It has other aspects, other modalities that help elevate the power of Ayurveda. It's not one, medicine for all.
Yeah. So could you walk us through kind of, well, first of all, I wanted to go back to how this is an individual approach, right? So you touched upon a little bit the Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Could you just zero in a little bit more on what is actually a constitution or a dosha and on those, what they are?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there's those five elements we have, and then those five elements are kind of made into the three different constitutions or doshas. So I mentioned them, the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So those three are, we want all three in our lives. We They say, it's hard to know for sure, but they say that hundreds, thousands of years ago, humans were 33.3% of each one. But due to, just life or like multiple generations, genetics, society, the world, these days we have more dominant two of them and a third that is less so. But we still need all of them. They all have functions in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits. So, for example, pitta, fire, is often related to anything related to your digestion, right? So, if you have indigestion, diarrhea, heartburn, those kinds of things, then it's probably an issue with your pitta, maybe too much or too little, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone that uses your strength a lot, if you need uses your muscles a lot, that's often kapha related. So you need muscles. We all need muscles. So we all need kapha. We need to move our bodies. We need a balanced kapha. We need a balanced pitta. We need a balanced vata. I should say we want maybe more than a need, because that is the goal, is to have everything balanced. But as we talked about, that is a lifelong goal. So we are always it's a three-way scale. We're always working on balancing one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that Vata is they say it's the king of doshas. And in terms of our society, if you see it, the first world society that we live in that promotes the go-go efficiency, productivity nature of or pace of life, this accelerated, this always kind of what's the next thing? What's the next thing? I can see it being very aggravating for the Vata dosha. And this is important for everybody listening. It's if you experience anxiety, you're nervous, you're overwhelmed, you're basically in the mind. Remember, the elements Vata is earth, ether, and air, right? So we could just think of this like balloon that has nothing to ground it. It's just going up. And the manifestation is the stress, right? So honing more in just that notion that, whoa, we live in a highly stressed society. What would be an Ayurvedic approach to bring said individual back to balance? And what does balance actually look and feel like?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're totally right that Vata is viewed as the king. It's very desirable to have. And it's for a number of reasons. But one of the bigger ones is that Vata, like a pure Vata person, is very adaptable. They can adapt very easily. They can change. They can multitask. They're, like you said, they're all over the place. If they're balanced and can manage that, that is amazing. But unfortunately, that is very rare. Most of the time, it builds on each other, and eventually that Vata becomes disbalanced. So, to become balanced, we'll use Vata as an example, to become balanced, Ayurveda obviously has many things that you can do. It depends on in which way you are disbalanced, whether it's more like internal in your, internal body, or is it more in your mind, spirit, or so on. But Vata, for example, is a very cold, erratic, fast moving dosha. So to balance it, to bring it down, we want heat, we want slow movements, we want well thought out movements, less erratic. Um, so examples of that could be a hot oil massage
Mm.
or different treatments, right? That help to bring down the vata. And in Ayurveda, in a treatment, we would use different kinds of oils for the different doshas. So if your vata is high, then I would use a vata reducing oil, which is often a mixture of sesame, olive oil with about 10 different herbs cooked into it. The herbs vary depending on the type of oil. There's even more specifics on vata, but obviously they're usually Indian herbs. I incorporate some Canadian in my oil, but it depends on where you're from or where you're getting the oil. Other things that help vata, so that's more your physical body, which indirectly will help everything, of course. But if maybe it's more your mind that you want work with, you want to balance the vata in the mind, you would want to do more things like meditation, yin yoga, things that are slow, calming, relaxing to you, and you repeat them. As with anything, the thing that'll really make a big difference is consistency.
Mm.
If you meditate one day, that is great, like that's awesome, but you're not really going to see much of a benefit, especially the next day. Maybe for the next half day, you'll feel all zen, but it won't last. But if you meditate even 5 minutes every day, and then you build it up to 10 minutes and so on, give it a month and you'll feel the difference for the whole day and then the next. So it's the consistency that really helps you become balanced and make long-term effective changes to that balance.
Yeah. Yeah, this is why the sadhana is so important, the self-care practices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell the women that I work with, it's like the number one thing we work on is like that sacred morning routine and
Mm,
early morning, because I like to see it as the unfuckable hours of the day, even if it's just 1 hour, 30 minutes that you have before the sunrise, if possible, and where no other demands are pulling you left, right, center, whether you have kids and you have work, da, 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 so many things, right? That pull our energy and our attention elsewhere than here, than in here. If you can create a routine and rituals that feel good for you and that support you in the state that you're in. So maybe you're in your angry state, maybe you're super anxious, maybe you're feeling lethargic. It's really like this ownership of, okay, I am here for me right now and what feels nourishing. So
mm,
just to work on that consistency point, it's not to say that it's going to be the same thing each day because we change every single day. Our energy
mm,
is different. So I think that's inviting in more of that introspection. Like, for example, have the realization perhaps that on a constant basis, perhaps I'm really highly fucking anxious. Okay. So we know that vata is elevated. So does it mean that every day you will be anxious to the same degree? Maybe not. But it's feeling into, well, what are the practices or that one practice that I know I can go to that will bring me back to a state of, you name it, grounding, peace, harmony. I think that's super important again to allow the person to feel what feels good for them.
mm. One of the hard parts is being honest and open with yourself about, how you're feeling, how you're doing, and what you need and what helps you. We're so caught up in our own biases and what we think others think of us that it clouds our own feelings about, how we're doing physically, mentally, emotionally. And it at the end of, it doesn't matter what we're I mean it doesn't matter that much what we're feeling. It's more about being honest and being able to understand ourselves and change accordingly. I have a morning meditation, but some days I feel like I need more energy, so I do breath of fire. Some days I need to calm down, so I do, Sitali breath or something. So it's like you said, exactly. It changes day by day, and being aware of that is one of the hardest things about managing our lives, our health, for sure.
Yeah. Self-awareness. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't change what you don't know
Yeah.
or you're not willing to see or feel. And I think that's probably the hardest hump to go over. But then after that, it's like, okay, when you realize that you have tools at your disposal that don't cost anything, your breath, your attention, your intention, your body, it's quite fascinating how quickly actually things can shift.
Hmm.
Right. But again, I love that word consistency and I also cringe at it. Um, and the way I soften the word consistency for because for some a lot of Vata people, any container is like they want to flee,
Right.
right? Don't contain me. And I have some Vata in me, so I could feel that. But then what I like to offer is like, well, what feels nourishing for you? What feels playful? What feels like you're excited to try this practice out? So inviting in their own creativity in, well, what does that practice look like for you? Is it, as you mentioned, like, is it the meditation, or perhaps it's a moving meditation, not in an erratic kind of stressful way, but in kind of like a free flowing, feet on the ground. Maybe you're walking slowly in nature, and that's the key that you need right now.
Yeah. Maybe it's dancing.
Maybe dancing, yeah. So it's like, it's you're not restricted to only one thing. Oh my gosh. I say that because like whenever I offer guidelines to people, I make sure to say it's their guidelines. Like this is on offer. This is on offer. It's the menu, but like you don't need to pick all of them. You know, choose the one that you feel like you're pulled forward to try it out because you're
Hmm.
excited by it.
Yeah, and what often happens is one thing kind of tugs at you, and then when you're being tugged and allowing to be tugged, then you notice, oh yeah, actually, this is really cool. And if I do some breath work on top of that, I feel really like into it even more. Or maybe if I play this kind of music or, this or this or this. So I
Mhm.
constantly just start small and don't get as hard as it is, try not to be overwhelmed. Because, yeah, we want to do it all, of course. But if you start small, you'll slowly add and add and add and add, and you'll enjoy as time goes on. Not to force things, of course, but you start with what you like.
Yeah. I like that. Start small. Be
Yeah.
consistent. Enjoy it. Done. All right, I want to add on to our conversation and bring in what you've recently added, if I heard correctly, the Swedish massage components with the Ayurveda.
Yeah.
How do you see these two working together?
So I wasn't sure before I started my Swedish massage training how they would incorporate together. I definitely went into it to find out if it was something that would work well together. I'm super thrilled that they actually work really well together. And so the reason behind that is, as we've talked about, Ayurveda is a very overall holistic medicine. So it's definitely helps, a little problem on your knee or local areas, but I mean more that it's a preventative medicine. It's more about doing things before they get annoying or they actually cause pain or issues. And that's great. But Ayurveda doesn't work quite as well as Western massage or medicine at more emergency medicine. So
Mhm.
if you're like in severe chronic pain, Ayurveda can help ease the symptoms. But if you need like quick, pain relief or some quick change, Western massage or medicine is better at that. Long term, Ayurveda is better. Short term, Western Swedish is better.
Mhm.
So the reason that massage wise they work well together is a Swedish massage will focus on this muscle group is stiff, it's painful. I'm going to really dig in, press my elbow into the trigger point, and work things out there. Ayurveda, on the other hand, is more, oh, your muscles hurt? Okay, we're going to soothe your whole nervous system. We're going to make sure your digestion system is working well. We're going to make sure you're breathing properly. So your whole system is functioning at optimal efficiency, which helps long term soothe your muscles.
Mhm.
So, in short, Swedish massage is great for short term help, and Ayurveda is great for long term help as well. So, they work amazingly together.
And do you see people come to you for either one or the other, or they want both of them combined?
I get all of it actually. So, obviously, before my RMT training, it was all Ayurveda. Now that I am both an Ayurvedic practitioner and a registered massage therapist, RMT, I get both. I get people that just want the Swedish because that's what they're used to. It's not that they don't want Ayurveda, they just have never heard of it. They don't know the benefits.
Mhm.
Um, so they're used to it. And insurance wise, it's easier for them to come see an RMT and have insurance pay for it when they don't know the therapist or the modality yet. But I am getting more people interested in doing combo of the two. So sometimes I'll see someone more of a Swedish approach, just because they're in like more severe pain or issues. And sometimes if they're really working on, especially an internal health problem, I'll have a more Ayurvedic approach. So switching between the two is really nice. And I am getting more clients interested in switching between them, but even just talking about Ayurveda. I just got a client and I've been seeing her for like 6 months. And just now she's like, oh, maybe I'll try one of the, Ayurveda head massages. That would be really nice. So I walk her through the whole process and things. So it takes time and I don't like rushing people through it, like
Yeah.
knowing like you need to do an Ayurvedic treatment right now. I let them kind of start the conversation a lot of the time. I'll just mention it here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, education's key, right? At this stage, when you're just letting people know that, first of all, this modality exists,
Hmm.
complement to what they're already used to. So it's not about cutting out the Swedish massage. It's about, hey, like if you're looking for longevity and perhaps not having such acute pain, this could be another option. What do you think is the missing, the misinformation, not the misinformation, but yeah, the educational component that you'd like people to know about so that perhaps they could be more open to receiving the Ayurvedic treatment?
The kind of the bigger wall or hindrance that I've come across is not even specifically about Ayurveda. It's actually just about people not being interested or willing in exploring, in trying something new,
Hmm.
in seeing if it works and giving it an actual chance.
Hmm.
And then maybe they don't, if they find it doesn't work. Um, but being genuinely open to the experience is something that I have found is lacking, unfortunately. So I like to, that's one of the reasons I don't like rushing it. I like to kind of drop little knowledge here and there, then they can research it on their own and take the time to look into it so they feel comfortable. Because with any healthcare, if the person is forced into it, there's less likely to be a benefit from it.
Yeah, and this really this confirms here anyways in our society the easy button kind of fix, not the super easy, but like the quick fix,
Yeah.
the short term um relief, and then seeing the long term as more investment in me and myself, having to actually put in some effort in my own sadhana, in my own self-care practice. So above just going to see Sebastian, for example, to have a nice head massage, Ayurvedic head massage, or having my nervous system relax, a little body. Oh, I also have to like really look at my lifestyle choices and see how, when am I going to bed? Is it 2 a.m.? Oh, what am I eating? Like, am I digesting? Like, nobody's spoon feeding you. That's the thing. And it just takes more effort and investment in our end, right? So I can see how there could be some resistance in actually needing to do the work or realizing, oh, I mean, you're not just giving me a massage and it's over.
Yeah, it's it's definitely really hard for humans in general. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you're guilty of it as well. We want, the quick cash back. We want the quick health fix. Of course we do. Um, but for me personally, what I've learned is the more involved I am, not only the more does it help and make it last long term, but the more empowered I feel in my own life, whether it's health or finance or social life, the more control I take, the more control I feel, right? And it's difficult, 100%, but it is worthwhile.
Yeah, and we could just see how maybe we don't want to take control of our life because it becomes too easy to just blame
Hmm.
somebody else if something wrong happens, right? It's too easy, right? That self-responsibility piece is so necessary um in anybody's healing journey. And I think the only thing I want to share here over and above what you've shared is the payoff that you're going to feel in the long term. And the long term doesn't need to be 10 years from now. It could literally be a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on how devoted you are to your practice.
Yeah, I'm actually I've been kind of experimenting as always with adding new things and things, and I'm amazed that if you're consistent with the thing, no matter what the thing is, you'll see benefits within 3, 4 weeks, sometimes earlier, depending on everything that's going on, but you can have great benefits, pretty quickly, and it just becomes a habit and it gets easier as you go on too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're speaking here to that. I love that word you mentioned, habit, how to build habits. And I'm sure there's a bunch of books out there, but the gist of it, the way I see it, and the way I think really helps people to create sustainable habits is coming back to what do you enjoy?
Hmm.
Like what feels good? Like, is it the dancing? Right? Is it the walk in nature? Like what feels good? Is it the nourishing food? The being able to feed yourself with foods that feel good for you. It's not like, oh, well, Sebastian told me to eat only rice cakes because I'm high in kapha, for example. I don't want to fucking eat rice cakes. Like, well, make some tasty crackers, make it yourself. Like, there's just ways that we can make our habits last longer, and these habits that literally turn into like a way of life, right?
Yeah.
And that don't need to feel as though they're being told, like imposed upon. It's actually birthing from within you and inspired, of course, by all the different techniques and tools that Ayurveda offers us, and yoga and all the other things. But it's really coming back to that ownership, like, well, how do you want to feel
Mm.
in the next month, the next 6 months, the next for your life? Like, how do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to feel in your mind? How do you want to feel like interaction with life? And if that's not strong enough, if your answer there is not strong enough, and the pain that you're feeling right now is stronger, then that's where we have to start questioning.
Hmm.
Because that's the switch we need to make. It's the pain that you're feeling now and the uncertainty of what lies beyond the pain that has to switch. You have to be pulled and excited with who you're becoming as you heal, and put less emphasis on the negativity you're feeling about yourself, the pain your body's in, blah 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 blah. Because unconsciously we kind of dig our own holes, our own grave, by just focusing on what's not going well in my body and who's going to fix it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, pharma is doing great because of that, and people like massage therapists are doing great. But I think it's also the massage therapist's responsibility, and I know a few of them. I'm affiliated to a space here where they're trying slowly to educate the people that are always coming back for the same acute pain. Like there are other modalities, like for example, Ayurveda that you can go to. Like, have you thought of this? Opening the conversation, because I think there's like it's limited in what you can say as an RMT to your clients for you know reasons to maybe legal reasons or just to protect yourself, but to at least share that there are resources out there if you are willing to be here in the to see sustainable change inside yourself for the long term.
Definitely. Yeah, it can be tricky to find the things that work for us. We need to find the appealing habits and make it work for the individual.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if there's let's kind of see if we can offer our listeners some tangible, let's say, self-question reflections or even practices to even just start.
Mhm.
Like, what would you say would be like the number one thing that somebody could do now to take ownership of their own healing journey, basically?
That's a great question. The number one thing someone can do to take ownership of their own journey, I think it touches on what I mentioned essentially of being honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with anyone else, just with yourself about why you are who you are. You know, you take an aspect of life that you want to work on and you ask yourself, why am I so biased in this direction? Why am I so judgy to these people or so on? Why do I, you know, feel pain in the morning? If you want, like physically, if you want, like, why am I feeling pain in the morning? Is it because I'm sleeping badly? Who would I talk to find out this information? You don't have to have all the answers. You don't. I don't. Nobody does. But having people in your life or using the internet to find the people that can help you along that journey, which is kind of my goal, is to be one of those people. Yes, I think receiving massages for life is great for everyone, but that's more maintenance. It's more of just maintaining, you know, your relaxation, your stress, your muscles. If if you're actually trying to work on something, then I'm here to help point you in the right direction, or I'm the right direction, or I have no idea. I would tell you. And we need to be able to say that to ourselves as well.
Mm.
Do I know what I want, what I need? Who can give me that? How can I get that? So it is a little esoteric, but I think being open and honest and being willing to be critical of yourself, but not judgmental or not downgrade yourself is very important. I have negative thoughts all the time. It doesn't mean I'm a negative person, and it doesn't mean I'm trying to ignore those thoughts. It's just part of my being, not my whole being, and hopefully not the biggest part, right?
Yeah, and realizing how those negative thoughts and beliefs affect you in your everyday life. And I think that's so key as well to remember, like where your tension goes, energy flows. So you keep on telling yourself, like, I'll never be able to do this. Like, I'm always in pain. Why does this always happen to me? It's like you're gonna keep on attracting the same things and the same energy.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, of course, this mindset work, this emotional work. That's why it's holistic, this journey. And I love that you brought in the basically the honesty, and I'd add just the curiosity,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one.
right? Like just being so curious, like, well, what is this shoulder pain actually telling me? And having a conversation with your body, like literally, instead of seeing your body as this thing that just like kind of shrivels up, it's just like, wait a second, like I get to be in this body for this lifetime. And this is the path of reverence, right? The path home. Like this is your first and last body that you're going to inhabit, right? It's the vehicle for your awakening in this lifetime, if you choose to awaken, because not everybody's, some people are just willing to stay status quo, stagnancy for forever, and that's fine. But if there's something in you that's like, holy shit, like I want to heal, or I want to transform, or I know there's something more in this life than just this pain or this ache, I want to do more. I want to create more. There's something in me, but I'm feeling stuck because of my digestion, my IBS, my migraines, my anxiety, right? It can manifest in so many different ways. And the last way, it's through the body, and it's the densest, right? And it's usually what we typically start with because it's what we can feel, what we can see. It's this tangible thing.
Mhm.
But behind it, there's the vata, the king of doshas. Okay, well, what's going on in here that's causing this physical manifestation here? So we prong it in different, yeah. So curiosity, self-awareness, you mentioned honesty, and then acknowledging the negativity, basically, if I hear it correctly.
Yeah, acknowledging it while not, feeling bad about having
Yeah.
it. Because
Yeah.
I find that's a big one is it's um it's part of us and we need it. Just like the three different doshas, if you
Mhm.
have no negativity in life, you are gonna you'll be happy, but you might be, broke and living on the street or be taken advantage. So we need some negativity in life, just like we need positivity.
Mhm.
So it's just being aware and balancing those as well, right?
Right, because they're all informing us. Like the positivity, if we can put the words there, it's informing you of what brings you into this state of positivity. So you get more informed of like, well, when I'm in nature, when I'm around this person, like I feel really light, energized. When I'm thinking this way, when I'm in this situation, when I'm eating this certain type of food, like I don't feel so good. Like I'm more negative. And I'm putting them like this because we're just using these terms,
Yeah.
but at the end, they're feelings. And we have to get really good at differentiating the feelings of, let's say, feeling, we're not even going to talk about sattva, tamas, and rajas, but just feeling at ease, whatever, however you want to feel, feeling grounded, comfortable in your body, present, right? Joyful. Like, what are those situations, those people that are bringing out the best in you, let's say? And the same thing for the things that deplete your energy, that drain you, that shame you, that bring up
Mm-hmm.
the more of the lower frequency energy that we all have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. I love this. I love this. We can go on, like now it's getting into tangents, but I love that we covered basically the basis of Ayurveda. We added the importance also on the Western medicine side, the acute pains and the self-empowerment piece for the people that are looking to actually take ownership of their health and well-being, and not only have be at the mercy basically of pills and whatever doctors tell us or whatever fad is going on
Mm,
out there. That's a big one. Whatever.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, do you have anything else you'd like to share? Any last words before we wrap up?
Um, let's see. I mean, we definitely talked about the big stuff. I think I think it's just, yeah, being open to the experiences and trying what you're able to try, right? Like teaching teaching people how simple it can be to manage their health and their life can be quite an easy process. You just have to start. Not that I know it's hard to start, but it gets easier and more manageable because you start looking at it in little pieces and you're not overwhelmed by, oh my God, I have this problem and this problem and this problem. And you just take it step by step, whether that's making a phone call and making an appointment or looking internally or listening to this podcast. It's taking step by step and you'll get there. You'll get there. Or you won't. And that's fine too. That's part of life's journey. So it's being Yeah, open to life's journey.
Yeah, I love that sentence. Open to life's journey. That's it. That's basically it. Just stay curious, folks, for
Thank
your
you.
own journey, inner and outer. Excellent. How do people get a hold of you, and what do you actually offer in your own practice?
Yeah. So, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, I offer Ayurvedic treatments. So, it's head massage, face massage, full body massage. So, it's different kinds of massages. There's a couple of other Ayurvedic treatments. They're all on my website, of course. And then, as an RMT, I offer Swedish massage, prenatal massage, and hot stone massage. Um, a lot of those are all covered by insurance, and some of the Ayurveda ones are also covered by insurance. I also offer Ayurvedic consultations. So this is more education based. You'll learn what your dosha is, what your imbalance is, and how we, but more specifically, you can balance it. I'm just more of a guiding hand, pointing you in the right directions, giving you the best medicines, advice, things like that. And I will be offering Thai massage and lots of other things down the road, but I have to finish my training.
Yeah.
But for now, all of that information is on my website. You'll have a link there. It's beveda.ca. This is Beveda. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Beveda Clinic. So you can find me on there. I'm starting to get more on social media.
Yay. Excellent. And I still have to come for the Ayurvedic massage. I have not forgotten about you. I am coming. And now with this conversation, I'm like inside, it's like, you really got to go and get tests and just feel into all that good stuff. Because I
Yeah,
do it for myself. Like I have my Abhyanga practice, but it's different.
of course.
It's different when it's somebody else's.
Of course. One thing that's hard for me is there's not too many therapists in Ottawa that do it.
Mm.
And the other guy that does it is like way down on the other end, and his male therapist is not there very often. His female doesn't see males. So I have to do it myself. So I understand it's great, but it's not the same.
Anyways, thank you so much, Sebastian, for sharing your wisdom with us and those key simple tools and practices that we can just start incorporating, basically coming back to self-awareness and
Yeah.
remembering to stay open to the journey.
Hmm.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sophia. I really appreciate it.